long time ago, in feudal Japan, the ninja would be hired for acts of espionage and assassination. An old ninja master was walking through the woods of his home one day. He came across many creatures, many venomous creatures, and he observed as even the smallest creature could sting or bite or simply touch a larger creature such as a mammal. And that mammal would eventually suffer death. Perhaps it would be paralyzed, perhaps it would fall and writhe in agony as the venom took over its body. And eventually it would suffer death. And then the insect, or the reptile, or the amphibian, which injected its venom, would then devour that creature. Or in the case of the toad, the would-be predator would no longer be a danger. Now, this ninja began to collect and extract the venom from these creatures, from the insects, from the reptiles, from the amphibians. He would extract their venom and he would make tinctures of this venom. And every day he would put a drop of this tincture into a bucket of sand. And his idea was that eventually he, a human, could become venomous like these creatures of the forest. So every morning, one more drop of venom into the sand, and he would submerge his fist into the sand, stir it around until he could feel a rash form. And being a master ninja, a master of poisons, he would also have a second bucket of sand with drops of the antidote to these venoms within it. And he would stir his envenomed hands into the box of antidote so that they would heal. And the next day he would do this again and again and again. And eventually he was able to bear this twice a day, and then 3 times a day, and then 4 times a day. And after many, many years, he was able to submerge his hand into this disgusting ichor, this potent, what would kill any other man. He would simply dive his fist into this and he would be able to bear it. One day he showed this talent to the shogunate. They were very impressed, but slightly skeptical. So they brought out a criminal, a prisoner who had been a robber, a murderer, a rapist, a highwayman, as they used to call them. Someone who had already been condemned to death for their crimes. And they said, show us this technique on this man. Can you kill this man by simply touching him? Just as the venomous toads of the force could do. So the ninja goes back, dives his hands into the venom. At this point, he could withstand 3 times what would typically be a deadly dose. And he did not require the antidote immediately. So he kept this venom on his hands, and then he went back to touch this criminal. He simply put his hand on the back of its neck for just a second, and then walked away. At first, those who watched this were confused, but within minutes, a rash formed on this man's neck, and then he fell to the floor, writhed in agony as he began suffocating, and the neurotoxins began to circulate within his bloodstream, causing him massive amounts of pain. And eventually, he stopped moving. Someone came over, checked his vitals, and indeed the man had died. Now, this shocked the shogun, all the lords that were spectating. And unfortunately for this ninja, they were so terrified by what they had seen that they shot him down on the spot. Their archers filled this ninja with arrows out of fear of this man's power. And never again was there a master of the poison hand technique.